a singing this song. All the little birds on Jaybird Street love to hear the robin go tweet, 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 rockin' robin, tweet.
Welcome to Life is Good. I'm Heather McHugh, your ever-loving hostess, and guess where we are today? We're in beautiful downtown Newport at a quilting show, and I'm going to introduce you now to Miss Hinton. It's Noreen Hinton, who I've met just yesterday, and the way this show is set up is the most impressive I've ever seen. So, Miss Noreen, tell us a little bit about your organization.
Well, we're the North Country Quilters Guild. We're the North Country Quilters Guild, and we meet once a month.
Where do you meet?
We meet at the Church of God up behind the Community National Bank.
Okay. And how many are involved?
I think we have 35 paid members right now.
They're paid to do this, or
No,
they
no,
pay
no,
you?
They pay. They pay to join. Our dues are only $10 a month.
$10 a month?
Yeah.
And you join, and you...
$10 a year.
$10 a year?
Yeah, you're going to edit this, right?
No, we're just going to raise your prices. $10 a month would be worth it.
$10 a year.
When you get together, do you all work on one quilt, or do you work on...
No, we don't usually work on quilts at the we don't usually work on quilts at the meetings. Sometimes we'll have a sit and sew day where we get together and we all bring our machines and we'll work on something. But the meetings are just, we get together and we usually have a program. We do show and tell. People bring their quilts that they've been working on the past month. And we just have a good time with our friends, and then we do a program. Sometimes one of the members teaches something, and sometimes we have outside speakers. Sometimes we do a potluck dinner, different things.
It's about fun times. How many members? You said 35.
35.
That's a lot of chin wagging.
Well, they don't all come. We, what was it, 20-ish every meeting?
That's darn good. That's really good.
Yeah.
Now, I'm looking around this amazing room. It's the municipal building, and where there are usually pickleball games and all sorts of athletic activities. It is now completely, beautifully set up with quilts. How many quilts are in here?
I think we had 104. Yes, 104.
I think this is probably the best acoustics anybody has ever had in this building. Would you like to say something too? No, everybody's standing around. Quilters are so shy. I bet if you get together, there are 20 of them. There's not a shy one among them. Are you going to take me on a little tour now? And then I'll talk to other people who will take me through and show me through the ribbons and stuff. I'm shutting off for 2 seconds, folks, and I'm going to walk around and probably trip and fall. But
No.
we'll have a really good time taking a look at these beautiful works of art. Be right back. And we're back, and we're in a different room. This is where the action happens. This is where the magic happens. So, Noreen, won't you please introduce me to your lovely, talented friend here?
I will. This is Valerie Rittershausen.
Hello, Mrs. Ritterhausen.
Hi there.
What are you doing?
I am actually just working on a Kawandi quilt.
Now, you'll have to speak slowly so that I can understand you.
Okay, a Kawandi quilt.
What is that?
It is quilts that were made by slaves back in India. They were taken by the Portuguese from Africa to India, and they had nothing at all. So they didn't even have blankets or bedding, and they would take whatever scraps of fabric they could find and create these blankets by layering them and just piecing them by hand. And this has become quite popular these days for artisans.
Well, it would be.
A new technique from an old technique.
You know, and you're talking about the slave trade and necessity being the mother of invention.
That's exactly it.
I think that's where we are in Vermont, right? Where we always have been, necessity being the mother of invention.
Yes.
And making do.
Yeah. But I have found it, to me, very therapeutic, because it's just, you don't have to be quite so precise, like in the quilts, the hand-done quilts, so I could just stitch along, and it doesn't matter what size my stitches are or how well they are spaced apart.
They look gorgeous. What kind of stitching would you call that? That's not blanket stitch.
Utility stitch.
Utility.
See, I took home ec. I was kicked out of home ec in 8th grade. You know, I've been cooking 3-course meals since the age of 9 because my mother was an invalid and she was in the hospital 6 months a year. My aunt was a designer of dresses, and I hated sewing. Well, my aunt was so cruel to me. It's like they couldn't do anything right. So I got to home ec, and Mrs. Mougois said, if anybody forgets their dress material again, I'm just going to send you home. And I thought, I have home ec last period on Fridays. I'm out of here. So I planned that, and then on Monday morning, the principal called me down and said, so what's going on, Heather? And I said, well, I really hate home ec. And he said, would you like to drop the course? Nobody drops the course in 8th grade, Heather. I went, yeah, I'd like to drop it. He said, okay, I understand. Because it was very intimidating. And it was not, like you say, laissez-faire.
Yes.
We had to be precise. And I mean, the darts from my skirt were somewhere. And I'm sure it was a new design, but nobody would ever wear it. And I look at you and I'm thinking, this looks like a wonderful thing for therapy.
Yes, it is.
Even a girl kicked out of home ec would enjoy this.
Yes. Yeah.
Hear that?
You can be creative, but you don't have to be precise.
It looks precise, but it also looks very homey.
Right.
Oh, I don't know if the camera's on it. I'm looking at it. I'm supposed to be doing a job here.
But there's some very interesting elements about this.
Yes.
These little plain colors, they call them ticklies. Because they're just a little embellishment, but that's just the word they use for them. And then you work your way from the outside in, and when you get to the center, the top one is all appliqued, all four sides. They call that the belly.
Okay.
And traditionally, I didn't do it, they put a few grains of rice in there so that your belly will be always full.
Oh, that's so nice.
And then these little squares that you tack on the ends, they call those fula, or flowers. And
is that a Portuguese name?
No, these are African names.
Yeah, but they were taken from Portugal to India?
No, the Portuguese went to Africa and brought slaves to India.
Oh, that's 3 countries I can't.
Exactly.
So what language were we speaking there?
Yeah.
So Fula, okay.
Fula, yeah. I think it's the city, it's SIDDIS.
Yeah, yeah.
Language.
City language. Well, and look at this one. Oh, it's so cute. And I do like the tummy. Is it the tummy?
The belly.
The belly
The belly.
of this one
Yeah.
is. I'm trying to focus on it. There we go. Very cute, but very, very pretty also.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And thanks for the history lesson too. Stitch away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So on this side of the room is our featured quilter. This is Lynn Perry. Lynn was a member of the Guild a long time ago. She used to throw these great Christmas parties in her beautiful, beautiful house. And she is an exquisite hand quilter. And she grew up quilting. Yes, this is a quilt she made for her daughter. This is called Boston Common. Is her daughter, pardon me?
Granddaughter.
Granddaughter,
Oh, are you all related?
So
Yes,
it's
we
my
are.
daughter and she was at college in Boston.
Did she go to BU?
No, actually she went to Emerson.
Oh, is she a writer? Journalist?
She was doing communications, political communications.
It's one of the best schools for that.
Yeah.
Does she live around here now?
She lives in Pennsylvania now.
Well, we'll forgive her for that. Take those Boston-educated children and don't bring them back to Vermont, for heaven's sakes. I hope she comes back soon.
Yeah, so this was hers. Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. Now, you say it's hers. Does she actually own it, or did she make it?
No, so my mom made all of these. This is my mom over
All right.
there, and she made all of them. So her grandmother made her that quilt.
Oh, that's what grandmas are for.
I know, grandmother's mother. She's a prolific quilter. So
Are you?
no, I wish I
No,
was.
none of us
but
are.
no.
Really? So where do you folks live?
I live outside of Chicago in the western suburbs of Chicago.
Which one?
It's called Glen Ellen.
I know it.
Okay.
I live in Woodbury Lake. We
Oh,
just built on the water in Woodbury Lake.
I was in Wildwood on Gages Lake for 3 years. Just went there to have babies, though. I had my babies in Lake Forest and then moved because it was a very fertile place for me, and I'd had 2 children already, so I moved to an infertile place called Tulsa, Oklahoma. Thank God I'm back here, where quilting is king.
Certainly
Yes,
is.
it
Yeah.
is. And Queen.
Yes, of course. Well, I'll be interviewing your mom if I can get her over here.
I can get her for you.
Maureen, am I having fun or what?
Yes, you are. That's great.
It's nice to meet so many people, eh?
She mostly builds quilts out so that you have a baby quilt, and so each of the grandkids has a baby quilt. All the firstborns are those, the secondborns are those. I'm the only one with a thirdborn. The thirdborn line is there for my daughter. And then the quilts for my siblings as well. my mother's actual quilt that she's at. And then the family quilts go all the way over to the most complex one, which is called Chaos, that very dark one with all the colors. That one is mine, and that lives in Woodbury.
Well, Chaos in Chicago, that doesn't go too far askance, does it?
Indeed.
Whoops.
Not so bad. And here she is. This is who you're looking for.
Oh!
The
She's
woman
stuck
in
up
the-
behind me.
Before we start, she's a thimble.
Thank you, sir.
She's a thimble person. And if you look at this, this is greatly enlarged, but it's a tiny little thimble that she started using when she was 5 years old. This shelf of thimbles are the retired thimbles. They actually have holes in them because she wore them out.
And because they're silver, I think if they were something else, they wouldn't have worn out. But,
Well, I think it's time for a formal introduction, Noreen.
Oh, I am so sorry. This is Lynn Perry. She was a member of the Guild a long time even before I came on the scene. And she is just a very prolific quilter. And when we voted on who we wanted for featured quilters, we said, how about Lynn? So,
And well deserved. Just looking around the room and seeing all the quilts you've made.
yeah.
And they're probably not all here.
no, they're not, but most of them.
Thank you, Noreen.
The special ones, the real special ones are. Don't,
Well, you have, what, 1, 2, 4, 6, 7 grandchildren?
yes.
And from what your son-in-law was telling me, or your son-in-law.
Well, there's
You're
a
a
son
son?
and a son-in-law, and they're both
Okay,
animals.
son with 3 children was introducing me to the number of people that you had made quilts for in their babiness, and then sons, grandsons, daughters, granddaughters,
Yeah.
and you have one very special one that you've kept for yourself.
Yes, that one, and that one is also on a bed in the house. So that's, all the guests get that one.
Oh, I'll be right over. That's so nice. I find one thing, I've written poetry about quilts and stories about quilts because my grandmother was a quilter. And they, for me, and I'm sure for anybody who has a grandmother who was a quilter, they mean so much because so much work went into them. But when you're under one, you feel the love.
Well, yes, and many of the children, of course, when they're little, well, not my children, the grandchildren, I mean, maybe they'd be under the quilting frame, but the dog is always under the quilting frame. You know, it's sort of like a little nest, or, in fact, I have photographs where I'm sitting at the quilting frame and the dog.
What kind of dog do you have?
I have a Samoyed, in fact, I'll show you.
Okay.
This is a Samoyed.
Oh, yes. I have Samoyed, of course, yes.
This was our first Samoyed, and this was the second one, and the third one is at home, Lily.
I like that name.
Yeah, Lillian, actually.
Do you have to
Named after
vacuum?
my grandmother.
Oh, really? Do you vacuum a lot?
Not as much as I should. But I have a vest I knitted out of her fur because one of the women who used to be in the quilt guild was also a spinner. And so she spun the fur for me.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes, it is amazing. You can't do it with all dog fur. A lot you have to add wool to because the fibers aren't long enough. But the Samoyed hair is long, so they were able to, she was able to spin it.
I've never heard that before. A dog spinning for, what do you call that? Not wool. Yeah.
Well,
It's like wool.
yarn. It's
Yarn.
yarn. I could show you a picture of it if I can find my phone.
All right.
What do you need?
The dog fur vest.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my goodness.
The bandstand over in Newport. And if you live on
Isn't that funny?
It's wonderful.
It's warm.
Thank you so much, Ms. Marie. Well, I've just been introduced to the 3 dogs up to Lily.
Oh,
And-
4, yeah.
Yeah, but Lily's still,
5 up, I think, right?
really?
Oh, of the Samoyeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The families, yes.
Are you related too?
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
This
That's
is
my
This
granddaughter.
is Stephanie. This is
That's
the Boston
just-
quilt.
Oh,
The Emerson student.
go and
yes.
stand beside your quilt and tell me what you think of it.
Okay.
And then tell me about your writing career or your communications career.
This is the quilt my grandma made for me, and I love it. It's very pretty, and all the feather hand quilting she did I think is really cool and pops nicely on the white. And then I also just love getting to look at all the different fabrics and remembering what they came from, like the sunflowers. There's one here.
Mm-hmm.
we made a dress together in that fabric.
How homesick are you living in Pennsylvania?
I guess I have a lot of different homes, so it feels like that is my home now.
Okay, if you can, well, wherever you go, you take yourself with you. But do you yearn to come back here?
This was never really my house, so I come back a lot to visit Oma. But
Well, I'm really glad you do, because
yeah, me
you've got such a history here, genetically.
too. Yeah.
And I'm awfully glad. And Emerson rocks.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much. I didn't get your full name.
It's Stephanie Waters.
Whoever that guy is.
Hot chocolate.
All right, Miss Waters, I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Happy landings. Okay, I'm going to just point the camera around a little bit while,
Okay, would you
Miss-
like, I'll introduce you to our other featured quilt.
I'd love that.
Okay,
Thank God for electricity.
this is Jeannie Prue.
I think I know you. I've seen you everywhere.
She was president of the guild when I came on the scene. She said she'd been president for about 25 years.
Yes.
So she's very good about the guild.
Now, you were 25 years as president.
I was.
How did it feel being out of the hot seat?
Oh, it was time. It
You-
was definitely time.
I understand that feeling, as I've never been in a hot seat. Nobody gives me any position of authority.
It needed to be taken over by fresh new ideas.
Really? And what are some of the ideas that you started?
Oh, that's a difficult question.
Okay, easy question. What's the capital of Ethiopia? No, never mind. No, but you get a tremendous amount of joy, and you're quite an artist yourself. My extension cord doesn't go any further than this, so I'll just try and beam in on some of the work you have, and you can tell me a little bit about each one. The red one with pink.
That's just a holiday quilt that I designed with to have hearts up on my wall.
Okay. Are these are called wall quilts, are they?
That's a wall quilt. This is a table runner, and that's a 4th of July table runner that I made for a granddaughter-in-law.
Is that yours? Okay. I can't go any further. I'm trying to. How about the walls? I can get that really well done, I think.
For 25 years, I had on my website a block of the month. I offered a free block for quilters to be able to make. I designed the blocks and offered them every month, and those are
It certainly is.
2 of the quilts
You can see
from
the
those,
band players if you look on the back.
25 years.
Well, amazing. Every month you made one of these?
Every month I designed one of the blocks so that quilters could take the design and make it.
All right. Well, they're very beautiful. They're pretty, and they don't look as complicated as some of the big ones. But then I look at the sides and the centers, and you've got so many little parts in there. They come together so well.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. So, what are you doing with your spare time now when you're not quilting?
I have a small business.
What is it?
Jeannie Ray Crafts, and I do hand-painted glass ball ornaments and sled ornaments and dough ornaments.
Where do you hang them? Where do you sell them?
Online on my website.
Would you like to just slowly say your website?
JeannieRayCrafts.com.
Spell that slowly, please.
JeannieRayCrafts.com.
Well, good for you. Let's see if we can get you some business.
Oh, thank you.
Nothing like a Vermont crafter.
Do you want me to tell you about this quilt?
Yes, sure.
This quilt was made by Carolyn Ferrara. Apparently she collected all these musical themed fabrics over a number of years.
Musical themed fabrics over a couple of years, and
made this lovely.
is she herself a musician plus a quilter?
I don't know. What I do know is that she was an excellent member of our group for a number of years, and passed away and left lots of fabric.
What is her name, please?
Carolyn Ferrara.
Carolyn Ferrara. Well, rest in peace, my dear. She's left you some beautiful quilts. And this one, especially for anybody who's interested in a theme, the music. I mean, actual actual scores.
These pictures of stained glass.
And I don't mean Montreal Canadiens versus Toronto Maple Leafs, musical scores on a quilt, which are much more interesting.
My daughter
Carolyn left lots of fabric that
usually in her dining room.
was given to the quilters, and we made
Minnesota, and that's
many, many donation
so
quilts,
they brought their quilts.
like these.
And
The
your
whole
do-
table is donation quilts.
So you donate them too? Come over here so I can hear you.
Donate them to the hospital, to local nursing homes, to Agape, to
Agape was the home.
Tecumseh.
Camp Tecumseh, thank you very much. My favorite.
Yeah.
No, because the quilts
Yeah,
are,
and I think the Agape house closed, and that was for Ukrainian refugees. And I know everybody around did so much for them.
Yeah.
And they're all well placed now and doing well,
Yes.
which is what I love to hear.
Yes.
And as long as you're in quilting, can you talk about what you think about borders and immigration? Seeing as this quilting
I'm
guild,
not, we have we have members from Canada, which is really nice. They're wonderful. It's wonderful to have a different perspective. And they have their own quilt shows also.
yeah, well, I'm from Canada, so that's what I. But as far as the artistry brought from other countries, anything Hispanic or anything from Africa or anything from any other country that has its own culture. I wrote a poem a while ago called "The Human Quilt," and quilts are much more symbolic to me universally than simply for something on a bed. Every time I look at one, I'm looking at somebody's heart. And nothing can be better than that.
Yeah, yeah, agreed.
I'm giving you a great big hug now.
Oh,
Anyway.
hugs right back.
Thank you very, very much. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close off the show, I think, now and just say thank you very much for watching Life is Good. I've got to say, if you haven't been to a quilt show at the Municipal Building in Newport, Vermont, do come a year after this. This is 2024. There'll be another one in 2026. And it's a wonderful guild with lovely ladies and a few really nice gentlemen. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Talk to you all next week.